Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Piqued, a meetup for electronic music makers. I'm your host, Impending Doom, Corey Luna, and on AV is your almighty tallest, Rich Hogben. Tonight we feature Your Opponent and TanukiSpiderCat. Each artist will be playing a live set tonight, and we'll play back-to-back with a brief intermission in between sets, followed by a group chat and interview with both artists. And we'll take your questions from the live chats on YouTube and Twitch. So please join in the chat and let's have a great time tonight. So first up, we're going to have Your Opponent. So, hey, man. So how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good. How's everybody doing? My video's frozen, so I can't say anything. Or at least it's still on the YouTube please like and subscribe thing. Not sure. But hello, everybody.
Excellent. Great. So are you ready to play, sir?
Yeah, let me just get my camera into you, and then I'll just start.
Very good.
Okay.
All right. Everyone, please enjoy Your Opponent.
Sorry about that. Is the audio good now? Okay, sorry about that.
that is this: that before we decide either to save the planet or to destroy it, we pause for a moment of silence. I don't mean that kind of grim silence which one observes when somebody says, such and such a famous person has just died, and you observe a moment of silence in his honor. Everybody frowns and thinks very serious thoughts. That's not silence at all. I mean real silence, in which we stop and experience reality as reality is. Because after all, if I talk all the time, I can't hear what anyone else has to say. And if I think all the time, and by that I mean specifically talking to yourself subvocally inside your skull. If I think all the time, I have nothing to think about except thoughts. And so I'm never in touch with the real world. Now what is the real world? Some people have the theory that the real world is material or physical. They say it's made of kind of a stuff. Other people have the theory that the real world is spiritual or mental. But I want you to point out that both those theories of the world are concepts, words. And the real world is not an idea, it is not words. Reality is This is a good question. Why go on? And you only go on if the game is worth the gamble. Now, the universe has been going on for an incredible long time. So really, a satisfactory theory of the universe has to be one worth betting on. That's a very, seems to me, absolutely elementary common sense. If you make a theory of the universe which isn't worth betting on, why bother? Just commit suicide. But if you want to go on playing the game, you've got to have an optimal theory for playing the game. Otherwise, there's no point in it. But the people who coined the fully automatic theory of the universe were playing a very funny game. What they wanted to say was this: all you people who believe
I want to thank everybody for being here for the set. I'm going to hand it back now. I think my time's up, right? I think so, yeah. Thank you all for watching, and thank you, Piqued, for having me on as a guest. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Your Opponent, everyone. That was fantastic. Thank you, Joshua. That was an excellent set. Very nice work. Might be having a couple of technical difficulties, but Rich will let me know in a moment if we're going to be ready for the next set. Meantime, hope everyone's staying home and feeling good. Okay, all right. Rainy outside. Sounds might be ready to. Let's see. Yes, TanukiSpiderCat, we can hear you. That was lovely. Looks like we're almost ready. All right. TanukiSpiderCat, if you are ready to play, let's go ahead. All right. Everyone, please enjoy TanukiSpiderCat.
45. 42 apple, take one. Stop it.
Saturday, July 7th, 2002. You have reached the hotline for the San Francisco Department of Animal Control. Our animal shelter is open from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. and 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. We close on all city holidays. We're located at 1200 15th Street at the corner of Harrison Street and the Mission Metro area. To reclaim your animal, you must be at least 18 years old and have proper identification. Please bring any vet records and pictures you may have of your animal in order to prove ownership. All dogs and cats over the age of 4 months old will require for a rating certificate. Please do not sign up on this recording alone to find your lost pet. It is your responsibility to visit the animal shelter. If you have internet access, you may also go online to the shelter today. The website is petharbor.com and is only intended to be an extra tool to help you. The following is a description of the animals found today. However, this recording is updated at 6 p.m. every day, but there are some animals that do come in after this recording has been posted. Today, on July 7th, 2018, the following animals were found. Starting with cats. One orange domestic short-hair male found in the Bruno Heights North area. One brown tabby domestic short-hair in the Inside area. One white brown domestic short-hair neutered cat.
TanukiSpiderCat, everyone. That was wonderful. Thank you, Colleen. That was really fun. Josh, what'd you think?
Thought it was good. There was a lot of really great metallic sounds in there too. Like I don't even know what modules were making what, but there was nice metallic like pipes and stuff. It sounded really cool.
It certainly did. That was a lot of fun. Colleen, are you on microphone? Not yet? Okay. So, in the meantime, we have her come on and answer a couple questions when she's available. In the meantime, Josh, I'd like to ask you a few questions if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure, dude.
So I'd like to know, how'd you get into playing music? What brought you to synthesizers?
Oh man, that's a long one. I got into music actually probably initially because my grandmother, she played the organ, and so I used to have to go do organ lessons instead of playing with my friends, which I was bummed about. But hindsight now, thank you, Grandma. But yeah, and so how I got into synthesizers was probably like in the early 90s. Like I was just trying to figure out like how Aphex Twin was trying to make music, like because it didn't look like the stuff that I had. And so I saved up a whole bunch of money and I got a MC505. I still have that MC505. But that's kind of kicked it off. And then I got a keyboard and then I got some other things too.
Cool. And Colleen, are you on? Are you mic'd?
I think yes. Can you hear me?
Excellent.
Oh, yay.
So I'd like to ask you the same question. And how did you get into playing music? What brought you to synthesizers?
Oh, 1 second. Oh, two. All right. Done. Let's see. Yeah, what brought me into music? Piano. You know, I started learning piano when I was a kid, and it is a super expressive instrument. It's still like a reference instrument for me and something that I play. And music is always a way where you can kind of express your feelings very loudly, but kind of not have anybody get upset about it, which is interesting. And then from there, you know, I got into kind of computers, early computer history, early music history, just lots of great bands, Aphex Twin also, Autechre, Coil, all that stuff. And
all that good stuff.
Yeah, kind of just, it's, yeah, just the move into digital, you know, or into non-piano.
Yeah, I used to use trackers back in the day. It's crazy to see them like have like a renaissance now, but like I don't know if you could get me to use a tracker again.
So this brings up from both of you some great questions. I would like to first off, who are your musical inspirations? Sounds like Aphex Twin is a shared one. And Josh, what other musicians have inspired you?
Kurt Cobain, Aphex Twin, Richard D. James. Who else? Ben Gibbard from Death Cab for Cutie. He's like an excellent writer and lyricist. I'll just do 3 for now. We can expand more later.
Okay. And Colleen, same question. What musicians have inspired you?
Yeah, definitely Coil, Sonic Youth. So many things. It's hard to pick.
I know it's hard to just pick some.
Daniel Johnston, actually, you know, just because he's so free, I guess, and his songs are just draw you in. It's so simple.
Oh, very nice. And I'd like to know about some of the instruments, seeing as Josh, and Colleen, you were both talking about, you know, how piano is a big part of your musical journey. And I'm curious to know more about which gear has been a main staple in your compositions? Josh.
A main staple is my guitar. So that's what I started playing as a teenager after Organ Land, after the organ had come and gone. But then it resurfaced. Anyways, it was guitar. I still use it a lot. Bass guitar, guitars. What else? Synthesizers, and then for the longest time, like my computer, like started off with like trackers and Cubase, and then eventually Ableton. So yeah, but this is all DAWless now.
Thank you. And Colleen, same question. What instruments are main staple in your compositions?
Electronic cello, and then I use the Lyra 8 for a lot of effects and stuff, and I always find myself kind of gravitating back to that. I have mutable instruments marbles, and so I kind of like generative things, so I end up using that a lot too. Also rings, because it's beautiful.
Yes, they
Mine
are.
are sitting right here, just right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think rings is one of my favorite modules as well. And I was curious. Have either of you been working with other musicians, either within a band or just one-on-one collaborations?
Yeah.
Like, tell us about that.
Yeah, I have a project. So the sample of guitar that was playing tonight off the Deluge is a buddy of mine. We're in a group together called Stereo Beach. You can get it on iTunes and all kinds of stuff. Anyways, yeah, we do that. It's been interesting because I got him into Ableton. He was very much like thrash punk and like thrashcore kind of guy, but he was an excellent musician. So I had to like bootstrap him into Ableton, and then now I've gotten into modular. So we'll see if we can get him into modular. But it's cool. I think when I go to set up things, for me, I always make sure that like jamming with somebody else is like key. There's always room. There's always ports.
Yeah, Stereo Beach.
Stereo Beach.
Cool. Thank you. And Colleen, have you been working with any collaborations or bands?
Recently, my main collaboration's been with Kit Youngs, but with his visual stuff and doing music to that. So sometimes we'll just jump on Twitch and experiment with stuff together. I haven't done a ton of audio collaboration recently.
That's a great way to create music, working with a video artist like Kid Young.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
He's always really fun to hang out with and play with. He'll make some sounds too. Yeah.
Well, that's very cool. And what's the Twitch channel, if it's available to watch, or is it private?
Oh, let's see. I think it's Fuzzy Nested Feedback Loops is Kit's channel, and I'll like stream, and then he'll pick up my stream and I'll stream to his stream. So, we're also gonna perform at VidCon together in the next few weeks here. So,
well, that's really cool. VidCon, that's fantastic. And speaking of live events, Josh, do you have any other events coming up that we would like to?
So with the Golden Shrimp Guild, which is a music collective on Twitch and other platforms, we have a Discord server. We're doing a Halloween event on October 30th. You can go to synthfest.online/Monster Roll. It's called Monster Roll. But it's a one-day event, and it should be fun. Hopefully lots of costumes and shenanigans and stuff. But yeah, that's what's coming up. So a week from this Saturday.
Week from this Saturday. Excellent.
Where is that?
It's online. It's on Twitch.
Oh,
but
nice.
if you go to synthfest.online/Monster Roll, then right now it's just a picture, but it's the flyer. But I gotta start getting the new flyer with the lineup out. So that's on me.
That's great.
Fantastic. Well, and just to comment on Kid Young, he was one of the two video artists that performed with me and a few friends, all at the Gray Area Grand Theater last month on, I believe, September 9th. and that was a really fun live event for a lot of us because I think quite a few of us had not performed live in quite some time, especially before a live audience.
They have such great sound and a great like setup there at the Gray Area too. So it's really great place to see and hear a show.
Is really nice. I agree 100%, Colleen. It was excellent sound. They really know what they're doing over there. They did a great job with setting up the video artists as well. And they also were able to accommodate Frank Martin with doing a quadraphonic setup in the center of the room.
That's crazy. I watched that. But I watched it and it was on stereo. I didn't get the full experience.
It was quite an experience. But yeah, that was working with Kit is always a fun time. I worked with him on a collaboration for Resident Electronic Monthly last year, where I asked if he would do video manipulation to a piece of music I composed for Resident, and also shot video just of me performing it, and then gave it to him to do as he wished. And that was a really fun collaboration. It's always wonderful to see what Kit's going to do.
Yeah.
And let's get on to some other questions. Let's see here. Where can we hear your music? Tell us, other than the bands and collaborations, what's the main platforms that we can find your music at?
Colleen, you want to go first?
Sure. Bandcamp, although I don't have much uploaded there now, so I'll be uploading more in the next few weeks, but Bandcamp's the way. Bandcamp, and then which is TanukiSpiderCat.
Excellent. And Josh, you?
Oh, and just also I have some different videos I've made for music too, and so you can see those from my website, which is TanukiSpiderCat.com. So.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice.
My stuff's usually I stream at least, like, for the most part, 2 times a week on Twitch. So I think there's a Twitch link flying around. There we go. But then SoundCloud, and I don't have a paid SoundCloud account, so stuff just rotates. So that's the best. Oh, and YouTube. I have some things on YouTube as well.
Excellent. There we are. You're reported on twitch.tv. Very good. And let's see here. Let's get some other questions going on over here. Let's see. So with knowing where we can find your music, do you have any upcoming releases that we would like to know about?
No,
No,
I don't. No.
Colleen, do you have any releases coming up?
Yeah, I have an album I've been working on that's going to be released December 1st, so, and that'll be on Bandcamp.
Excellent. I think we're all really looking forward to that. So now tell us about your performances tonight. Like when I invited you to perform with us, what gear and what were you thinking about when you came to composing for tonight? Colleen, tell us about your setup for tonight. Tell us about the gear you're using. Obviously, of course, we know rings and probably marbles may have been components.
I got that. I got some morphogene. I kind of have the ability to route anything through the lyra. And then I have cello kind of going into morphogene. I have some of the noise engineering modules and different things, controlling envelopes and sounds here as the main components. I just kind of thought about lost pets, I guess. Sort of lost pets and maybe like I was going through some stuff on my phone, just different recordings I made, and I guess I listened to the Lost Pet Hotline in 2018. I think when somebody's dog was missing, and I spent a lot of time looking for it.
Oh
And it
no.
made me think,
Oh no. Did you find it?
we did. It was really crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, the dog. It took a long time. The dog was eventually found, not via the Lost Pet Hotline. It made me think about, yeah, just the pre-pandemic world, I guess, and how maybe things were murky even then, and maybe how we can find lost pets.
Is that maybe an upcoming band name?
Lost pet.
Finding Lost Pets?
Finding lost pets. It's available.
That sounds pretty good. Okay.
So, and then I'm also just kind of using the Morphogene's end of sound trigger to kind of trigger other things and try to drive things from the Morphogene, which can be a little chaotic.
I have not wrapped my head around Morphogene yet. I've had one for a little while now, but I don't use it enough. I did use it for the Gray Area show, but I was just really using it to play a sample just continuously.
Mm.
And Josh, tell us about your setup tonight. What were you using? You had seemed to be a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of a bunch of stuff, but the lots of modular. I got my trifecta of Moogs, which is the subharmonicon, DFAM, and Mother 32. Then the Deluge is the brain of everything and clocks everything, and then clocks are going out to clock dividers. There's MIDI out to the Poly 2, but I really love my subharmonicon, and subharmonicon through beads while also having it. I also have a hex mixer with a hex expander, which is not really on camera, but yeah. So usually, what I was approaching this was just to kind of try to figure out how I could do 30 minutes, because like usually when I'm streaming on the Twitch, it's usually like 2 hours or so. So I just kind of like space it out. So with this show being a little shorter, I had to set timers on my watches and stuff. So like a crescendo into some music, some beats, and then just a nice fade out. Just kind of a little stuff. I almost did like a techno set, but I haven't been doing a lot of techno lately, so it might have been like false advertising. So I decided to do like some kind of mellow.
Very cool. And what inspires your creativity? Like, is there something that, yeah, tell us about that, please.
What inspires my creativity? I just really enjoy sound, like, and as of lately, especially with the pandemic, I've been going out to like Baker Beach a lot, and I play disc golf, so I also play disc golf in Golden Gate Park, and just I like making a mix for myself where I can just like listen to it and then be out in nature and just kind of feel inspired and in awe. That's kind of my inspiration right now.
Which is a good one.
Yeah.
And Colleen, sounds like finding lost dogs is quite an inspiration for you. And I was curious, what else inspires your music?
Definitely nature, like ocean also, and kind of maybe imaginary things like the sort of depths of the ocean where no one's been and no one knows what's happening there. So a lot of my other inspiration comes from kind of late night talk radio, where it's just all about the callers, because there's nothing like someone expressing something genuine, I guess. However misguided it may be. So get a lot of inspiration from that. Also just hearing the coyotes run around the city at night, and trains always, because it feels like you're going somewhere.
You know, I work early in the morning, and I walk to work. And on, I think it was Monday, I was working at 3 a.m. So I left my house probably about 2:45, 2:50 a.m. because I live close by by where I work. And as soon as I get out onto the street, there's a coyote just by itself walking up the middle of the street.
What part of the city do you guys live in, dude? Like just coyotes running all over. You said you live in North Beach. I mean, coyotes in
Yeah.
North Beach? What?
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't. It's not the first coyote I've seen, but this was definitely the closest that's gotten to me because we made eye contact. It stopped and looked at me for a minute, and then just kept walking and kind of zigzagged around where it went from the center of the road onto the sidewalk, kind of weaving through some parked cars, and then just kind of kept walking up the hillside.
Could have
Yeah.
been a drunk festival wolf, somebody wearing like a costume, just weaving. No, just kidding.
Yeah, it's a big year for coyotes. I could actually hear them a few
Was it like
nights.
WolfCon? Was it WolfCon?
Just a whole pack of them running around yelping, and you could hear them for so.
I've only heard that like out in Potrero, but
Yeah.
I never hear them, honestly. I never hear them howling, but probably because I live by, a main, I live by Bay Street, which is one of the main streets between getting into San Francisco and going to the Golden Gate Bridge, a big commuter area. So I mostly hear just traffic. But
well, one of the things I was going to say that I forgot to mention, one of the things that's been inspiring me lately is like the 1950s and 60s. Like I have a hard time, like just kind of envisioning the way that life was. So like 8mm film, just that kind of stuff. Like just been inspired by that a lot too. That's been like the chase of nostalgia.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wanted
yeah.
to say I really enjoyed your sample at the beginning of your set. The
Oh, the Alan Watt. I was
Yeah.
so I don't know how it's gonna work out because I don't know if YouTube's gonna hit you guys. It's just like
No,
sorry.
Alan Watts is totally. I'm pretty sure they just opened it all, so it's all.
I've said this before. I've hit up the Alan Watts Foundation, being like,
Really?
I'm really like, I want to license this and stuff. And it's one of those things. I always have the hardest time licensing when you go somewhere and it's a web form. They don't have an email address. It's a web form, and then they'll get back to you. And they never got back to me.
Oh. Man, I
have
saw
some-
that form, and so when you were playing it, I was like, oh
Exactly.
man, he did the form. He did.
Never responded to me, and I totally was like wanting to license. But if they've opened it up, I haven't heard that. So
I mean, I assume I guess that forum made me think that it was easy to get it, but anyway, there's so many videos of him
Oh, yeah, dude,
singing and different things, so I thought that they were chill with it. Anyway, they're good.
yeah, I
Alan
don't know.
Watts is cool with it.
I don't
That's
know.
a great
But
sample.
yeah, I like Alan Watts a lot, dude. A lot of the time, like the person who he's talking about, who's kind of like a fool and like thinks they know what's going on and is trying to be tricky and stuff. That's how I feel like he's talking to me. I feel like I'm that person, so I get I get value out of listening to him sometimes.
Yeah, no, me too. He just has a really compelling way of explaining things.
And he laughs at his own jokes. Just always a chuckle. Always a chuckle.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, this is great. I love hearing more about this. And actually, I wanted to hear about now that we know more about how to maybe ask permission to use Alan Watts's excerpts. Colleen, I was curious to hear about some of the samples you were using tonight in your set.
Yeah.
Well, please tell us what are we listening to?
Yeah, so let's see. Oh, most of the samples came from Freesound, maybe all of them
Freesound.org.
except Lost Pet Hotline. There's someone on Freesound who's gone through and he's digitized all this old movie tape. So the opening kind of like fight scene, and there's this whispering like, "Where are the horses? The horses are over here." The people kind of repeat it, I think, because they're doing multiple takes. And yeah, so that part's all on Freesound. I've kind of moved more to free sound since I have a lot of radio samples, but I am unsure of their, legality. But I have a lot of really great coast-to-coast samples. If anybody enjoys coast to coast.
I enjoy Space Ghost.
Oh yeah, Coast to Coast is like a late night AM radio show that used to be good. People call in and talk about shadow people, aliens, weird conspiracies, just weird stuff. Yeah, you kind of have to listen for a while, to get to the good stuff. Lost Pet Hotline I recorded. And then the Train Coyote stuff, yeah, that's actually on Freesound too. Oh, and then I had one sample, although I don't know if it was audible. It's this guy saying, "My friend made a fuel out of algae." And I recorded that in Dolores Park while I was recording a video for Noise Fest like over a year ago. So there's something really compelling about how he says it. It's really emphatic. It's great.
Colleen, our friend Dave Pollan, says he's still waiting on my E352 track.
Yeah, it's coming. He sold me the E352, and it's amazing. I just got a little mini SD card so I can upload my own waveforms to it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Artbill is good. The new crew is terrible. Coast to Coast is unlistenable now. But people have archived all of it. Actually, I have years and years and years of Coast to Coast.
Oh, wow.
Drive. But
that's really interesting.
Freesound is a really great site. You can just sit there and search it forever. People upload some really great stuff.
I love the idea of sampling, and of course, there's always a big issue with sampling someone else's work, and of course you can always make your own samples, but sometimes you hear a quote from something and it just resonates with you, and you really want to throw that into a song.
Yeah.
And we've all done it, and it's always so much fun, but it's always something that's like you really can't release it unless you get get permission or buy the rights to it, something like that. And I've always thought about trying to kind of recreate certain quotes, using either my voice or a friend's voice to maybe trying to rearrange the sentence so it's not copyright infringement. Have either of you ever tried anything like that? Creating your own samples.
Yeah, my favorite thing, and I still do it now, is text to speech, right? Like those things are great. And the text to speech engines have gotten better and better. And sometimes you don't want better and better. You want it to sound kind of crappy. So text to speech is killer. And I think there's a plugin for VST that you can do text to speech wavetables, which is really sweet.
Wow.
Crazy.
And it's free. It's called Vital. It's a free plugin. It's great.
I would love to get a link for that. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, the text to speech wavetable thing is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Sounds fantastic. I would love to try that.
I also sometimes if I'm gonna try to upload something to YouTube or even Twitch. I mean, YouTube has the best algorithm right now for detecting this kind of stuff. You can always just make a video snippet of you performing and then upload to YouTube. And if they catch it, then trash it more or figure out a way to do it. You can use their own algorithm to game it. I probably shouldn't say this. I'll be quiet.
Yeah, I've used the text to speech a little bit. I haven't tried trying to recreate a specific quote. But yeah, that would be one approach.
You can always take the sample and vocode it too.
Yeah, there you go.
There's ways. There's always ways, right?
There's a way.
That is a
I
great
mean,
idea.
I just record stuff as well, so I do field recordings and stuff like that. So I have a great sample I've used before that's some bullfrogs in Mississippi.
Cool.
And it is just so weird and almost sounds like a human screaming, but sort of doesn't sound like a human screaming. So, yeah.
That is awesome. That sounds wicked. I like this. I like the sound of that.
Then I have some samples that I don't know if I should use or not. Just people that I'll never see again giving some extreme political commentary. But, you know.
There's all kinds of public archives too, like the National Film Archive. You can use those things.
Those are
There's another good site that's kind of I think it's still around. It's called Looperman. And it's just other artists, and some people are vocalists, some people are guitarists and stuff, and they just put their stuff up there, and you can search for, you know, Creative Commons license and stuff like that, and use other people's stuff, other local, not local artists, but, you know, up and coming amateur, however you want to say it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's a great resource.
Yeah, it's super handy. Like freesound.org's, like all these things are great.
No, definitely. So, Colleen, you kind of reminded me about you know, taking samples of like past people, and something I did actually at the Grey Grand Theater for the Left Coast Lights Eclectic Trips Festival was I took a sample of a friend of mine who had passed away in August, and the voicemail was probably maybe a week old, so it was the last recording I had of his voice. And so I took it I sent it to myself from my phone, made it into a WAV file, and already it's, you know, it's a crappy voicemail, but it's a great, but there's also a great thing about that, just because, you know, it's, you know, a voicemail. It sounds just like it because it's probably, you know, the guy had a landline. He never had a cell phone. It's kind of great. And it's also kind of choppy because, you know, converting an MP3 into a WAV file doesn't sound too good. And it was kind of weird, but at the same time, I think it was kind of not necessarily an inside joke, but just like a very awkward sample of my friend's voice I used in the beginning and in the end of the song that I played live there that evening.
That's cool. I think that's cool.
It's really cool.
It was fun.
Yeah, I have some sample. I have a voicemail from somebody that passed away that I haven't done anything with. I'm kind of like, I have all, like, it's like the only voicemails I have saved, but I've been trying to figure out like how to bring that out, because it can set like an overtone to a song. Like, I don't know if you guys know the mayor of Divisadero, who recently, it's not London Breed, but the mayor of Divisadero, his name was CB. He passed away, and I have a sample of him that I use sometimes, and it just kind of, nobody else knows unless you know the like CB or whoever it is, but it can kind of set a tone a little bit, you know, a little morose.
Yeah.
There's a thing about San Francisco, which every district of San Francisco has its own mayor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the mayor of North Beach is a good friend of mine, Peter DeLuca, who is, knock on wood, still living. But I should record him soon, because he's one of those old school North Beach guys, born and raised here. He's probably 81, maybe 82 years old, and the guy has some of the most wacky stories you'll ever hear.
Dude, I bet, man.
My God, he was a what was that thing? I forget what it's called, but basically he was involved. He was military, but he was a I forget what it's called. Where he's, anyway, he was
National Guard, like
not similar to that, but
okay.
Merchant Marine. He was a merchant marine, and he was involved in imports, exports for a little while, and one time he said that the ship came in with a baby Joey from Australia. So they took the baby Joey to the bar, and they bet guys to box with the Joey, and the Joey kept knocking people out.
My grandma used to tell me stories about like people boxing kangaroos. I think it was a thing. Like it sounds like make believe now, but I think it was a thing.
San Francisco is a weird place.
Yeah, yeah, but fun. I love San Francisco.
Oh yeah, like it's like ridiculous. He was telling me that they were like feeding this kangaroo like cheeseburgers. Like that's
'Cause that's what
that might
what
be
you
even
do
more
when you have a
ridiculous.
kangaroo.
Yeah, like it's like and that's really great. Josh, I don't know who what was it, CB, the mayor of Divisadero?
Yeah, he would hang out if you were in the neighborhood like Nopa, whatever, Western Edition. You would see him like on the corner of like Fulton and Divisadero. He honestly, like, rest in peace. He looked like a pimp. He just real flashy, just real colors. Oh, but always dressed to the nines. Like people know of him. But yeah, he passed away last November, and just a couple weeks ago they had I'm gonna mess this up. Is it a second line like kind of funeral for him from Alamo Square down to Divisadero?
Oh wow,
It was really touching. It was really touching.
that's quite a procession.
It was fun. It just right out in the street. It was a beautiful moment. When we were walking down from Alamo Square heading down to Divisadero, I was just like, oh my, I don't see any cops. I don't think this is sanctioned, but it was just a really touching moment that all these people were just gonna stop other people, and just for a brief moment, just for him. I just thought it was nice.
Oh wow, that's so. Man, I wish I could.
I teared up. I ain't gonna lie. I teared up a couple times.
That's
Wow.
beautiful.
Yeah,
So-
it was really nice.
Similar. So when my friend passed away back in August, he was a San Francisco historian. He was actually working on a book. He had written over 2,000 pages on saloons of San Francisco dating from 1849 to about
wow.
maybe 1915 or so, and he had information. He was so well known about his knowledge of saloons in San Francisco that he would get hired to write and do the research for bars, for new bars, basically so for example, the Comstock Saloon.
Mhm.
It has been, that particular location has gone through many different companies that were mostly all saloons dating back to the 19th century. And it's pretty amazing how the place has changed over the years, how some things haven't changed over the years, and the stories behind some of the owners. But of course, a lot of this information you can't get too much of. Basically, like, you can get like the names, the addresses, sometimes a phone number if it existed at the time. And he was and so because he was well respected by the Comstock Saloon specifically, and the owner of it was a good friend of his, since the COVID-19 happened with the shutdown, the Comstock Saloon has been closed ever since. However, they opened that day just for the people who attended his memorial service to drink his favorite beer, which was Anchor Steam beer, and that's all that was on tap. And it was
When
on the
was this?
house. What's that?
When was this?
This was August 11th.
Oh, okay, of this year. Okay.
Yeah, so we all got to hang out in the Comstock Saloon for a little while down there on Columbus and Pacific Street, and cheers him.
That's nice.
That's great. Have you guys ever been to Day of the Dead? I don't think they're going to have it in person this year, but I'd really recommend it to anyone.
I have not.
In the is in the mission.
Yeah, in the mission. So
I know- Go ahead.
I think it's going to be virtual or not in person, but it's just a really special event where I've just never been to anything like it. Just all kinds of altars and memorials to different people's lives and open areas so that you can add your own stuff too. It's yeah, it's a really unique event. And then music, all this stuff, everything happening every direction at the same time.
I've never experienced it myself. I think I went to the Carnival
Carnival,
festival they have out there?
Yeah.
I still haven't been to that.
Yeah, that was fun. They had some very nice floats.
Yeah.
But I'm still refraining from doing a lot of group outside activities. I'm still not comfortable with being around crowds.
I'm pretty sure it's not until next year in person anyway, but yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of crowds, how have you two held up over all of this?
I've actually done pretty well. Like, yeah, like it was kind of interesting actually. So a couple months before the pandemic started, actually, my husband and I quit drinking. So,
Wow.
like,
Nice.
yeah, as people might think, oh, you're gonna drink more during the pandemic. We didn't, and everything was shut down, and it was a good thing. And then we ended up just kind of just connecting more and going to the beach a lot. It's Baker Beach, always Baker Beach, and stuff, and just yeah, it's been nice. It's been a reconnection to nature. Not that we like lost it fully, but you know, sometimes living in a concrete jungle, you can lose that.
Absolutely, and congratulations on sobriety. That's a very wonderful thing.
I didn't say sober. I still smoke weed, so I just say I don't drink.
Well, alcohol and weed are very different drugs.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's very good, and that's a great point. I did make one trip out of San Francisco. Well, I had more than one, but I took a trip actually just after my friend's passing. My father and I drove up to Oregon to visit his sister and my uncle, and they're probably about 30 minutes outside of Portland, and it was so they're in the woods. They're on septic tank, and they've got a couple of acres of property out there, and that they've got with about maybe 4 Samoyeds running around, and it was really nice to get out of San Francisco for a few days and just to be around nature, and just I was able to walk in their backyard and pick wild blackberries, which is something I haven't done since I was a child, and it was really, really pleasant. Like, it was just a wonderful experience just to get out of, as you said, the concrete jungle.
Yeah, I love San Francisco though. Don't get me wrong. It's a wonderful big little city.
Yes. And Colleen, have you been holding up over the pandemic? Have you been doing all right?
Yeah, I made my music studio nicer than ever. And kind of took a lot of time to fix stuff around the house and fix my yard and just, fix all kind of stuff I thought I didn't have time for. And then just lots of biking and hiking around San Francisco, and there's always more to discover here.
What places did you check out that inspired you?
All the Land's End, just all of the hikes and the Presidio and doing huge bike loops around. Even though I go through the mission constantly, I'm always finding something I haven't seen there. And then because I was working from home and kind of had more time, and I felt really disconnected from everything because it was during kind of mega shutdown.
Yeah.
I started volunteer delivering food to like people in the mission and SF, and it really just made me feel like I was a part of being here, I guess. And I would have never done that if it wasn't for the pandemic also.
Well, that's nice of you.
So yeah,
That
it
is
was
very nice.
kind of a way to feel like I had somewhere to go or like a reason to, you know.
I did a lot of driving. Yeah, like
Yeah.
just a lot of city driving.
Yeah, you know, Twin Peaks was shut down for a while to cars, and then I don't know if it's still shut down, the Great Highway, all these places without cars, seeing them too and biking around, it's just really peaceful.
I really did enjoy when the pandemic first happened. I really enjoyed how quiet San Francisco was. It was also kind of creepy at the same time because you're just not used to it being so quiet.
It's
I know.
at least where I live, it's still pretty quiet over here. I mean, it's always kind of quiet, but even more so. There was a lot of people left.
Yeah, a lot of people did just move out. That's right.
In the beginning, I saw a lot of moving trucks, actually, just all around, and it felt like people were moving out. Now I feel like there's tons of people in the mission all the time. There's
always
tons of
tons of
low
people in the
rider
mission.
shows. Huh?
I said there's always tons of people in the mission, like both where you guys are, like North Beach and the mission. Like when I was like taking my little drives and doing things, it never looked like there was a pandemic at all. People were busy, yelling in the streets, like double parking out on the side of parklets. You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
That's what parklets are for. Double parking.
Yeah, the wharf is so weird because there's always people on there, and even during this time, like I forget what club it is. There's like a classic car club where all these guys drive around together, and they've got these classic cars, but they're well kept, and they're probably got some new paint jobs on them, and some of them have hydraulics, and they're doing crazy stuff and blasting music and just driving around, and that's fun. And then there's this weird guy who will drive around the wharf, and he'll have like a different car every time. He's blasting music, and when he gets to a stoplight, he gets out of his car and starts dancing.
Nice.
It's like, all right, that's not too bad. Kind of random, but that's San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I did some traveling for work too, which was kind of intense, especially at first. So I drove from San Francisco to Mississippi, and we barely ever stopped. We stopped to sleep. And then in Mississippi, people don't wear masks as much as people do here, I guess, I would say.
Wow. How'd you feel about that? Did you feel some anxiety from being around people who just didn't wear masks?
So I was mostly just outside and away from people, so I didn't feel too much anxiety about it. But you really did. It's in the Bay Area, people take things a lot more seriously than other places. Yeah, there's one kind of restaurants there will have signs that say like no masks allowed. That's
Oh my God.
it's and to me it's just political signaling of some kind, but it's real. It's completely different. I was vaccinated, before I went, and I was careful, but it was still weird driving out there.
Wow, I can't imagine. Sounds pretty weird to me still. And like it's, I don't know. And being in the Bay Area, growing up out here, and yeah, you're right. People do take things probably a lot more seriously out here than in a lot of other places, and there is a political aspect on both sides, absolutely. But it's also weird because you just, especially around here, when someone refuses to wear a mask, it just seems odd.
Yeah, definitely.
And
I don't
so
know if I've ever seen that happen though, but yeah, it's odd.
there was, Colleen, you just reminded me of another sample I used for a different, I think it was for a different show last year. It was Resonant Frequencies. I did a set where I sampled. I was in Safeway. It was maybe about 6:30 in the morning, and there's this lady who comes in not wearing a mask, and this is maybe a year ago or so. So he comes in not wearing a mask, and everyone's telling her who's working there, "Hey, you have to wear a mask when you come in here." And she gets mad and loud, and right away you can tell she's on something. And because she just starts yelling at everybody and starts yelling that her mother worked for Safeway and she can do what she wants, and just walks right in the store, and you can hear her just shouting at anybody that she sees. It's just ridiculous on how, and just, it's like, okay, we just asked you to wear a mask, and you're just shouting at everybody and being absolutely rude and just making it very personal. And it's just but I took my phone out and recorded it and took the audio from it and threw it into my set later on, and it sounded it brought a very chaotic aspect to that song.
Yeah. Wow, I've never seen anything like that happen in my whole pandemic. That's exciting. But I haven't gone to Safeway a lot, so.
Oh, you're lucky. There was another fun incident that happened during the pandemic at Safeway that I got to witness. A lady wearing nothing but what was it? A hospital gown, walks into Safeway and immediately finds a fire extinguisher behind one of the check stands and sets it off in the lobby. And so the fire department come and try to restrain her, and she was black, and she starts yelling that the fire department are racist for restraining her after she set off a fire extinguisher for no reason.
That's intense.
Yeah, I didn't record that one, but yeah, there's some. I don't know. I don't understand it, but Safeway really draws out the people. Interesting place. But sometimes you can get some really cool samples.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, we're getting we're getting close to about 9 p.m., guys, and I want to say thank you very much for coming on Piqued tonight, performing for us, and talking with me tonight. It was really great getting to know you both a little bit more. Josh, this is the first time you and I have really chatted, and really got to know each other a bit. And Colleen, you and I have known each other a little over a year or so, I think, just virtually mostly. And it's been a pleasure to have you both. It's been really fun. I enjoyed your sets. I'm learning every time we do Piqued. I'm learning something. There's always gear I haven't heard about, either modules or virtual VSTs, wonderful things like this that I'm always happy to learn more about. I love hearing the process of how you create your music, because everybody has a different approach, and it's really fascinating to see the different technical sides of it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Same. Thank you. This is fun. It's fun to hang out and talk to you guys too. I was super scared of the talking part.
If you see me on the street, say hello.
It's okay. Yeah, same.
Yeah. Okay. If you guys ever, and something that's kind of special about tonight is, since the pandemic happened, I don't know if you know, but Piqued used to be an in-person event,
Mhm.
and we did that for maybe 11, 12 shows. And then, so our last show, in-person show was in February of last year. And then since then, it's been a virtual event. It's going to stay a virtual event because we don't have access to that space anymore. The company that we were using that space from let the lease go. So it's Piqued is forever now online. But with that, I was able to reach out to different people beyond the Bay Area. So I got some guests from all over the United States, Canada, Russia. It was, I really expanded the network that was available, and it's been really fun. But it's also really fun to have both of you on tonight, being in San Francisco, and that's just and we started out as a meetup for local artists, and so I'm very happy to have some local artists here that I might someday run into, maybe get a coffee sometime or go on a bike ride with you guys.
Yeah.
It's
And
kind
around
of
in Safeway and just, I'm there.
Hang out in Safeway with a field recorder. Just
oh my god,
Yeah.
that's not a bad idea. That could be interesting. That really could be. I like it. Very cool. Well, I want to let everyone know you've been watching Your Opponent and TanukiSpiderCat. I'm Corey Luna. This is Piqued. Rich Hogben has been one of the best guys I've known and collaborators with creating Piqued. And it's about 8:55 p.m. on October 20th, 2021. And I want to say thank you all very much, and stay home and stay safe. Good night.